Welcome back to Raw the Podcast. I'm your host, Allie, founder of TheCheekyClean and Conscious Cart LLC, providing products, education, and resources to help consumers live more consciously. I am so proud and inspired to introduce my guest today, Christie Murdoch. Christie is a friend and the owner of Banyan Tree, a local neighborhood shop in Tremont, Ohio. Christie is such an inspiration, not only for the incredible business that she's built, celebrating 25 years this year, but also from her purposeful way that she moves through life and all the work that she's done internally in order to achieve this success externally. We're going to talk through some of the challenges she's been through and some of the things that keep her rooted while she continues to grow Banyan Tree's roots. But before we get into the episode today, I am so excited to introduce our sponsor for Raw the Podcast, Green Farm Juicery. Green Farm Juicery is a neighborhood juice bar specializing in cold pressed juice, smoothies, smoothie bowls, and snacks. Everything is all organic, gluten-free, dairy-free, and made on-site with love daily. Their juices are raw and cold pressed, never HPP processed, so always assuring maximum nutrition benefits. You may have heard Melissa, the owner of the Bay Village location, on my podcast in season 1, and I'd encourage you to go back to listen to that and learn all about the benefits for health and longevity from Juice Cleanse. Green Farm is not only a place for grab-and-go healthy items, but also Juice Cleanse experts. I'm so excited that they're supporting the podcast today and want to invite you to go and visit their Bay Village location. Thank you so much, Green Farm, for supporting. And with that, let's get into the episode. Hi, Christie.
Hey, Allie.
How are you?
I'm doing so well. Thank you. Thank you for having me. This
oh my
is
gosh.
incredible.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
You've been on this conscious journey with me, to say the least, over the last couple years. I've talked a lot on the show, for those who've listened in before, just about the big transition that I've went through and kind of the spiritual evolution that I've been on since attending the Dr. Joe Dispenza conference, which is really where we should begin because that's where we met.
Yes, I was a part of your spiritual awakening.
You were a big part of my spiritual awakening. You've been right there next to me the whole time.
Yes.
So I always say, I look up to you so much as a mentor in business, but above all else as a mentor in life, because you're such a grounded, spiritually focused person first and foremost.
Thank you.
And I think that when you really get to know you is so obvious that that's the roots and the foundation of where you've been able to find this external success.
Yeah, well, I think I had my own cracking open in my own experience of that, and my when I was 38. So
which is not far off from where I am at right now.
Right.
So this must be the time, that midlife.
It is. And I think a lot of women have a crossroads to go through at this, at this time in their life. And they have to figure out what things stir up, and you don't know what's happening. And I think it's evolution, really.
Yeah.
And it happened. I had my business for 25 years and now, but I am just celebrating my 10-year sobriety on Tuesday.
Oh my gosh, chills! Wow, how divine that we have this episode right now, because this is going to come out next week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And congratulations. That's such a feat.
It is. And I feel like a little more prouder than having the business for that long. I'm so proud of it. And I'm so excited to have the next 10 years be just as beautiful as this last 10 years have been.
Yeah, I think and I want to get into more details throughout the episode on your sobriety journey for sure. But I think what's so cool and interesting is that it's so much more than not drinking or not doing drugs or not being codependent or whatever it is. It's this decision that you're making consciously to live in a different way than you were before.
Yep.
And it sets off this ball rolling of all of these different areas of your life that for some time it's kind of challenging to walk through. It is this opportunity to really shift and change, and the universe gives you this gift of becoming your highest version.
All the time.
Yeah.
You just have to be open.
Yes.
And I think that's where, when you're not open, things aren't able to line up.
Totally. Completely agree. So you obviously started your sobriety journey much prior to when we met at Dr. Joe. Where were you at and what kind of brought you to even going to Dr. Joe?
Going to Dr. Joe, you need spiritual shots, I think, in
Yeah.
life. And I feel like getting sober was I was at such a low point that going to Dr. Joe was something that I needed to revigorate my
Yeah.
spiritual path and
Yeah.
where I am being more connected
Mm-hmm.
to the bigger universe,
Yeah.
divine. I have practices, but I needed something to help me just inspire me, things that can help me learn, really help me learn to meditate.
On
And I
such a
think
deep
that
level.
is on a deep level
Mhm.
and connect and take my breath away kind of experiences.
Absolutely.
And so that to me was it's a onion. And I
Mhm.
think when you can peel away different parts of your spiritual life I think I was ready for that deeper work.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And it's kind of this like onion that we go throughout life
Mhm.
of taking these steps towards this deeper part of ourselves. It's
Yes.
like the decision to stop drinking or to live differently is kind of the awareness.
Absolutely.
And then it's like it starts this process
Mhm.
of going deeper and deeper and deeper. And just like anything, we can get kind of caught in routine and ego mind
Yeah.
easily.
In
And
the loop.
without the practice and the loop.
The
and
loop.
without the practice, it's like it's so hard to stay out of that loop and that ego mind.
The ego mind, it speaks first and speaks loudest. And so
100%.
you have to find ways to calm
Mhm.
and go inward and really hear what your soul's trying to tell you and connect and
Mhm.
get that chatter away. Because I have tons of it. Like,
Same.
my monkey mind can go
Yeah. Do you think everyone everyone obviously has their mind. Like, I get that. And their chattered mind. But I don't know. I do think there's some people that are more highly sensitive individuals that are maybe more aware from a young age of how like loud that chatter is. And I think that's maybe why some of us do these things to escape.
I definitely think that I've always been a seeker, and
Yeah.
since a young age, and having deep conversations when I was young, we would
Same.
be journaling with a friend.
Yeah.
I've always had that way of connection with people, real connection,
Mhm.
and I don't think everyone has that calling. I agree, but I feel like everyone has a connection to the source. I believe that a lot of people don't tap into that.
Yeah.
But and that's where we are able to help people tap into things that they're not aware of or how they can
Exactly.
get
And I think
closer.
you've utilized this path business wise to almost be this vessel of connection to your spiritual growth, whether it's in the people that you're attracting employee wise, whether it's the humans that you work with to make your clothes. I mean, the things you're offering inside the shop, it's
It's with
all a
purpose.
reflection.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel if I don't do things with purpose, then I'm spiritually broke. And so I can't
Totally. Yeah.
you can have all the money in the world, but if you're spiritually broke, you can't
None of it matters.
none of it matters.
Which is exactly where I was when we met. I was,
Yeah, and I could see myself in you.
yeah.
And it definitely, I was so happy to help you through that, and still,
Yeah,
we
you've been
need
such a light in my
women.
life. We do. And that's why I wanted to kind of talk through some of the deeper sides of our relationship and what we've both been through personally, because it is so isolating. And I think until I met you and Lisa, I didn't have this space of people that were like, we see you and we see this brokenness in you, and like, it's okay to heal and to change.
Now you can start the work.
Now you can start the work, and like, here's the work we're
Yeah,
going to do.
yeah, yes,
Like,
this
and you're
part?
not going to do it alone. And it's
No.
so refreshing to feel like, okay, I can do this, But I was definitely in a space where I was, had it all on the scheme of things, like outside looking in, like corporate job, money, like all of the securities externally, but I was so far from myself internally.
Yeah, that's where I was too.
So let's start from the beginning a little more. So you grew up in Put-in-Bay.
I did. Yeah, I grew up as a child from 9. And so I grew up at Put-in-Bay doing water sports and sailing and doing all of the beautiful things that the island can offer. And it truly is a beautiful place. But getting into your adolescent and teenage years, it definitely exposes you a little bit more to things that
Quickly.
quickly, and a
Yeah.
lot of it.
A lot of it, because
Yeah.
there is such a beautiful side for the locals, I think,
Yeah.
are familiar with it in Put-in Bay. But for us non-islanders, like
You
it's a
see it from a
party scene.
and I would defend it for many years and say,
Mhm.
hey, but there is this other side. And yes, there is.
Mm.
But there is definitely the culture of the part, it's a culture. And so
Mhm.
you can't just take the culture away from a place. So
Yeah.
growing up there, wouldn't take it back for
Mhm.
a world. I have wonderful friends that I've kept for over the years. But I definitely, I think my innocence was kind of stolen, and I think becoming, starting to drink at a younger age definitely does not help you. There's statistics. I think you're 50% more like to be an alcoholic if you start before 18. So those are strong, real statistics.
Yeah.
But I always, it was like never. It was very social, and
Yeah.
I always
It's
kept
just exposure.
yeah
And it's
exposure.
common, I think, in Ohio in general. I mean, kind of everywhere with like it's interesting because it's like same here. I mean, Strongsville is not necessarily a party town, but
But when you're growing up in
when
high
you're
school,
growing up in high school and when you're kind of exposed to this societal norm. It was kind of like we couldn't wait to grow up and be able to drink
Yeah.
and like steal alcohol and like start doing because we wanted to feel older.
Yeah.
And that was what older people did.
Mhm. And it was acceptable.
Acceptable.
So I think that
Completely.
what society is acceptable, it's like, oh, they're just being kids.
Yeah.
But you don't realize what it will do to your brain. So many studies before 21, like it literally hijacks your brain and it doesn't develop as like normally. So
Exactly. And for
yeah.
us who are already kind of like highly sensitive
Mhm.
people and like we're not being taught these positive ways to navigate
cope.
that ego mind. Instead, we're like learning these ways to escape it
Yes.
and it works.
It works.
Yeah.
Until it doesn't.
Until it doesn't. Yeah. Okay. So you grew up on Put-in Bay and your mom had a store.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she had a store. She had a women's boutique. Yeah.
Ooh.
And she was a school teacher during the year and then
Mhm.
was able to do this over the summer. It got us, we lived in Columbus. We would go up every summer and amazing experiences. And I was able to like learn from her,
Yeah.
really go to the different trade shows
So cool.
and be able to hear, just it was tribal knowledge, really finding out how to open a store. And that kind of led me to open Banyan Tree. But I never wanted to open a clothing store because that was my mom's store.
Yeah, that was her thing.
That was her thing. And I'm like, I want to do something different. So it was more of an art gallery.
And you went
gift
to
shop.
art school.
I did go to St. Mary's, Holy Cross and St. Mary's in Notre Dame, but I did do sociology and art, so art minor. So I was
You've been very passionate about saving the earth for a long time, which I love about you. And that comes across so much in like the way that you source now. I mean, you're so focused on sustainable and slow fashion and the opposite of fast fashion and almost like clothing is an art piece.
Yes.
And I think that all comes from this background and these passions that you've had from a young age.
Yes. And I think that too, I went off track.
Yeah.
I at one point had the 3 stores and was like definitely buying things that were not sustainable and very busy, and I think that's where when you don't align with who you truly are, like the universe will tell you.
The universe will tell you, but it's so hard to listen because on the surface it's like
it looks great.
But this is what it's supposed to be, you think.
Yeah.
But there's something about it inside that doesn't feel right.
Right.
So you graduated school and then very quickly after that decided to buy the shop?
Well, so we went Yes, so we got married in Hawaii, went to Bali because we had friends that were importers and that had a store at Put-in Bay. So I knew her husband, and my mom was like home finding an apartment. Like I didn't have anything lined up before I got married. We were living with them. And so she's like, I found this place in Tremont and it's like
As an apartment.
It's an apartment.
Uh-huh.
And then she's like, and I'm like, Mom, maybe I open a store there. And she's like, there's a storefront there. And so we were talking about it, but nothing really happened, well, the first 3 months we were moving there. It was like a a dream idea. I was trying to find a job.
So you bought the place.
Rented the apartment.
You rented the apartment. You're on your honeymoon.
Yes. And my mom picked it out.
She picks it out. Amazing. And you're like, okay. Yeah.
I did rely on my mom for a lot.
I love it. So you guys were just like renting this place in Tremont. So that was probably like your first exposure to the Tremont neighborhood and how cool it is.
Yeah.
I mean, living there, I've never lived there, but just working for you in Banyan Tree, I'm like, it's such a vibe.
It is. Mm-hmm. And it was a really cool time when a lot of the restaurants were opening and all of the people that were there. The energy was amazing. People really wanted to support everyone in Tremont. It was a really good time then.
That's so cool. So you're just like figuring out what you're going to do with your life with your art degree, your social work degree.
Yeah. Sociology.
Sociology. Got it.
Knew I didn't want to be a teacher. I tried that at school and I couldn't get up in bed.
Yeah, you're like,
to go to class.
Not for me.
Not for me. And I appreciate teachers. And I really do.
Yeah.
It's
a different level of patience and skill set.
Yeah. For sure.
So how did it lead to getting the shop?
So I ended up like reaching out to our landlords, and my mom was the biggest like mental supporter. She was like, I'm like, I can't. I have to find a job. She's like, what do you have to lose?
Totally.
She's like, you don't have children. You don't have a house payment. I fortunately, my husband had an income, which was not much at all. Like he had one car, but we opened it. My husband, Dale, was really involved in it too on the weekends. I was doing it during the week, and he did his full-time job. And so it was just one of those like serendipity things that you just think doors opened, people came to help me along the way, showed me. I sold a lot of local artists. I did a lot of sourcing. I went to New York and found some things there as well. And a lot of handmade things. So it was cool. It was just like things just kind of flowed and opened. And I know I always go back to that. Like, okay, if things are kind of flowing, then if it's too much of a struggle, not that it wasn't a struggle,
right?
But just the process of it.
The process, and you were enjoying it, and you're like, these things are coming into place. So was it successful right away?
No. I mean, there was lots of tears, lots of tears. And I always say, thank God I had a 3-year lease, because if I didn't, I probably would have checked out. It was not only was Tremont not as busy, but like it was just this up and coming area. People were still like a little bit. We did have great restaurants at the time, and so people were coming for that. So we were open late, and that's kind of how I got mine. Was really coming during the day.
So you would stay late after the restaurants, and people would wander in.
A lot of hours. It was just me at the time and my husband. So if we had a wedding, parents would have to come and work the shop.
That's so badass, but it's just like, it is such a lesson in entrepreneurship, because you first off need someone like your mom, which you were for me, by the way, of saying like, what do you have to lose? Like, you can always go get another job. Like, you don't have kids in this moment. Like, exactly. You're like, you're not happy in your current job currently. Like, you have this little cushion. If not now, then when? And I'm like, oh my God, totally. Like, if not now, then when? And it's not something where it is going to be easy. And I think that's the thing. But when you are driven by such passion and you really love it, you make it work and you put the energy in, and it doesn't feel like, it's so weird, because some days I'm like, they're a whirlwind and a roller coaster. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? But then there's these moments like sitting here in my studio, like having beautiful conversations. And I'm like, there is nowhere else on earth I'd rather be. And it doesn't feel like work. It feels like creating from the heart. And that's worth everything. And it's like, you just have to trust that like it's going to fall into place in the way that you can sustain it,
Yeah. And you have to realize when to shift, and kind of, I've changed the model of the business several times. I've learned to like go with the flow and, with the river, and just be able to be like, oh, this is what I thought, but okay, there was another, I have to shift a little bit and get feedback from people.
And like you said, noticing when you're pushing and when it's not,
when you're
flowing. Yeah. Because it's like,
it doesn't mean you're not working hard.
Right. But it's like when something is just not moving forwards and you have this vision and you're like, but this is what I want it to be. It's like, it's coming in a different way.
Yeah.
So look at alternatives.
Yes.
And that is, I think, like the hardest lesson as a new entrepreneur because especially someone who came from such a structured corporate environment, it's like
it's very defined.
And it's like you define the outcomes first. And then you just like
you gotta
do the process in order to hit the outcomes. And that is not how building a business from heart works whatsoever. Like you really got to feel through the process and be willing to not be so attached
it's the
to the outcomes.
Part, right?
Yeah. That you're like able to be like, this isn't working. Like I got to shift it up for a second.
Yeah. You know,
the collagen and everything.
Like your ideas. And it's like one idea comes in the other and you just have to know which one. They all can work.
Yeah.
It's what was going to work for you, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to figure out which one is right for you.
Yeah. And the avenue that's right. I actually just recently, I had these big ideas of like having multiple products and maybe I will at one point, but I was down the road already with the second, third, and fourth before the first even came out. And I'm like, this is crazy. And so finally just this like last couple weeks, I like told the manufacturer of the next product, I'm like, I actually want to get my deposit back. The timing is just not right. Like I just brought this one to life and this is such a great extension of the brand. So why would I
do so much with this?
Yeah. Why would I spread myself in 100 different directions? And then again, like pull me away from the real purpose, which is like educating on the ingredients and things like that. So I've been really hearing that lesson from business owners that I look up to. And I'm like, okay, if this is like doing the most, I'm doing the most. So where can I not?
Yeah.
More is not always better.
It's not.
No, exactly. It's doing, and that's kind of one of my mottos for the year is less, but more intentional. Because it's like, that's so powerful. And that's kind of where your business has gone over, like, especially recently in the last couple of years since I've known you.
I am back to my original store in Tremont.
Yes.
And so
over the years, you've had multiple locations.
Yes. Yeah. I've had 4, I think 4 at one time.
Oh my gosh.
It was 3 when I was 38.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it was,
wow.
The striving, it's all like, in purpose, looking back, it was, it's a lot of fun, like creating and opening things and being like busy. But it definitely can get a little bit wonky. Like you can
and away from your heart.
Yes.
Yeah. And like lose yourself a little bit in the process and then be like, what am I doing this for?
Yeah. What am I doing this for?
Yeah. 100%.
What's the point? And I think that's where, when I closed last year, I'm like, I need to align with businesses that are creating like I create in Bali, because I make a lot of our products in Bali and Thailand with small batch. We work with some of the people that I've been working with for since I've been going to Bali. I've seen their families grow up. I've been doing this like kind of conscious manufacturing since it was cool.
Since it was cool and so low key about it. Yeah. No one even really knows, I think. And now you're kind of at this place where it's a perfect time to share that with the world a little bit more, because it's such a big part of why your brand is successful is because of the energy that goes into making the products. And a lot of consumers see the end piece that's so beautiful and makes them feel so beautiful. But to know that that product was made in such a beautiful way for not only other humans, but the earth.
Yeah.
Like that's the value of consumerism in a time when, I think we're all getting a little fatigued by consumerism and the wastefulness and concerns behind mass production.
Absolutely. And I think, I'm right there with you too. I feel, there's so much waste going on, and buying products that you can wear for multiple years is where we where we need to be heading. This throwaway, recycled,
it's just not good for the earth, not good for us, not good for the people making them behind the scenes. It's the coolest thing, the energy that you've cultivated inside the Tremont location. So the Tremont location's always been your flagship. And then you've had the other stores here and there, and then decided to close them all in due time. And I was working with you when you closed the Crocker location.
Yeah.
And it's so funny how so many people will be like, yeah, that rent must have just been so high. And it's like, yeah, for sure, I bet. But that's not the reason why you closed it. It's like you had 8 really powerful years there, but it was almost, actually, we went to Dr. Joe, and I think you kind of like went back in and
Mhm.
started thinking, okay, how am I evolving this to the next level in
Yeah.
alignment?
Absolutely. And I don't live super close to Crocker. It's not a community that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I needed to like I loved going to Tremont. I felt my
Mm-hmm.
my I wanted to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Where Crocker was it was fun. It was like, but I didn't feel connected. And so I feel, I wanted and it was taking me away from like I have two adolescents now and like
Yeah,
kids and I'm busier now driving around and it was almost 45 minutes from my house, and
totally.
so that wasn't convenient, and so it wasn't a line like, that matters to me.
Yeah, I mean, knowing
That
your
matters to me.
brand now as well as I do, and having worked mostly spent all my time in the Tremont location, you're not a fit in Crocker Park. And to me, I'll just say it, Crocker Park is so commercial. It
Yeah.
really is. It's gotten very big box. There are other outdoor shopping center type places. I think of like a Van Aken
Mhm. It's
that
more of
is
a
more local,
yeah,
supportive.
I agree.
There's a couple local businesses within the Crocker Park location, but it
Mhm.
has become very commercially oriented.
Yeah, and I think that
And that's
there's nothing wrong
okay.
with that, but
Yeah, it's not your vibe.
it's not my vibe,
Mhm.
and I feel like the connection that I have with the Tremont people, and it's quite it's funny because people will come that have shopped the stores for years, and they're
For
like, "This has
years.
always been my favorite,"
Always. And some
and
of
like
them will be wearing pieces that they've truly had for 20
yeah,
years. And I'm like, I'll compliment their sweater. I'm like, that's so cute. That looks like a banyan piece. They're like, oh my God, I got it here 15 years
yeah.
ago. I'm like, that's so badass.
And they would come and they would live in, like, Westlake, and they would always come to Tremont because
Yeah.
they like the store there,
In
and
the
so
neighborhood and the
in the
feel.
neighborhood, and we definitely lost some customers,
Hmm.
but I understand that, it's not the convenience, but I think we're gaining a lot of new type of customer that really
Hmm.
cares about what they're wearing and kind of like, shopping truly local
Yeah.
is
And the
so
feel.
important for if we wanna have streets that are safe and
Yeah.
open and stores that are happening. I mean, you have to support local
Yeah.
or you're gonna have a city that's is not safe. If you don't
No.
have stores that are open and restaurants that are open, like I'm always, supporting local is so important. If not my store, shop local because
Yeah.
it's
I look at shopping local as your way of driving change in your local community on a day-to-day basis. It's like using your money as your
mhm.
currency to fuel your city
This
and the
is your
people in
city.
your
Yeah.
city.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful thing. I think one thing we can all agree on is our local community
Mhm.
thriving is important. And that takes the individuals to want to consciously put that energy in.
And
Yeah.
supporting those individuals that are actually creating in your
It
community.
drives so much change. It's
Mhm.
like, and it's empowering.
Yeah.
So, yeah, your business has evolved a lot over the years. You had mentioned a little bit about at the peak of owning all of those stores, kind of sounds like it was like correlating to this spiritual awakening peak that you had.
Yes. I
Yeah.
had a crack open. That
So,
was
talk to
okay.
us a little bit about, I guess, like what was the lifestyle you were living prior to the crack open? With like what are some of the things that weren't serving you? Obviously, it sounds like you were drinking a little bit as like a means of
Yeah, I mean, I feel I was a social drinker. I think what happened is I was at that time, I think my son, Weston, was 5 and Cooper was 3. And I had, I think, 4 stores, a husband,
wow.
so just on overload, just
Mhm.
trying to pull it all together and to make it look like I have it together. And I think that
Totally.
was probably the biggest thing is that, trying to make it look like I have it together was more important to me than actually having it together.
Yeah.
And I think when I came to a point, I was spiritually broke and like self-loathed myself
Mm.
and didn't, I felt so, I would drink on a Friday night, can't get up on a Saturday morning,
Mhm.
feel horrible that for my children.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm so proud now that they don't ever remember me drinking. And that's like so
So
like that
cool.
to me is like, my gosh,
Oh,
they
amazing.
will never know me as a drinker.
Yeah.
But I know that when I was going through this, like, the motions of just trying to have it all together,
It takes a toll on you.
it takes a toll.
Mm.
Like, there was nothing in my life that I was doing to really being conscious and aware of it.
Yeah.
I think I went to a therapist and I was telling her all this stuff and like today, I think about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like she's, I'm explaining things to her and she's like, do you think you might have a drinking problem? I'm like, what? I mean, the denial that I was going
That's
through,
so wild that you
the
said that.
denial. And that was kind of what kind of sparked me. Well, first I read a book, Broken Open by, what, I forget her name, but she started the Omega Center. And
Broken Open.
yeah,
I downloaded it. You told me to. I haven't even listened to it yet,
it's
but I need to still.
Elizabeth, I think it's her name.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. And it was next to my bed for 2 years. And
Mhm.
I was like, where was that book that I really wanted? Or it was more than 2 years. I had a thing of books and I was like, where is that book? And it just
Was
right there.
Of course.
So those things were aligning, right? I was
Mhm.
becoming more open. I went to a therapist. I was like, okay, I know I don't want to feel like this anyway.
Awareness.
I had
You were in
awareness.
denial.
Yeah, I told her, she asked me, she's like, well, how many times do you black out? I'm like, oh, I mean, maybe 4 times a year. Like, I thought that was normal, right?
Yeah. I mean, but so many people do.
I
Yeah.
know, but these are awarenesses.
Yes.
And so social, like she would describe her weekends and she would have people over with board games and no one drank. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, that doesn't exist in my world.
Yeah.
My friends
Everything revolves around drinking.
it was around drinking. So those were the little seeds. And I've had seeds all my life. I remember when I first was younger, I'm like, I might have one of those problems,
Yeah.
but I just kept them back there, like
Mhm.
after all of those years. And so things let up. I was feeling horrible. So I decided to quit. I'm like, I'm just going to do this for a year. And I'm like, I'm just going to see how
So
I
you
feel.
didn't have like a rock bottom situation?
My rock bottom was just feeling so damn horrible. And I think
Like emotionally and spiritually.
yes, yeah. And I just
And you're like, and almost like a fraud in a way, because you're like, I have all this external success and people look at me like I have it all together. Like, but inside, why don't I feel right?
Yeah.
And I think that like
that
dynamic, it tears at your spirit.
It does.
Until you're ready to look at it.
And the biggest thing that I will tell everyone is that what happened for me was, all these things aligned, but the resentment that I held for every living person that I knew was my poison.
I can relate.
It
Majorly.
was the poison, and that is the poison. And that's I started going along, like I was 6 months sober, and I went to a meeting with a friend,
An AA meeting.
a meeting, and she's like, hey, just come with me. She's been sober. She was sober for 5 years, and I'm like, okay. And oh my gosh, game changer.
Game changer.
Yeah, because that is what taught me how to live. It taught me how doing the step work, it taught me that those resentments are what was keeping me drinking. And if I had resentments, that I would continue to drink.
Totally.
So I blamed everyone. Why I was doing it is that I didn't want to look at myself. I didn't want to look at all of the things that I was self-loathing on. I could say that I'm self-loathing now, but I didn't know I was.
Exactly.
I thought I was like,
and how can you be self-loathing when you have all these great things going on? It's almost like just running away from yourself.
Yeah.
And blaming others.
Blaming others for your unhappiness. Things aren't working out. The stress of life, of having kids, and how I deserve the glass of wine because I work so hard. I mean, I remember thinking those things. There
is nothing scarier, truly, than having to take that look and say, wow, I have been living so far from myself and truly not loving myself.
Yeah.
It's really challenging.
It is probably why I kept on going back, is because I was like in these rooms going, oh my God, everyone's like, they're telling the truth. And there's not many places where you can go and you can really hear the truth, the people's truth.
It's so refreshing.
And people are celebrating their truths. Non-judgment, saying you are okay, you are still loved. Just because you did this, it doesn't mean anything. Like it will help others.
Yeah.
And I think that's where that part, knowing that your pain can actually help others.
Yeah.
Is part of it.
So you just kind of like realized you were having an issue and you're like, I'm just going to not drink for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then at 6 months went to 12-step and that's when it really kicked off this like true commitment.
I had the gift of like, as soon as I quit drinking, I was done. And a lot of people don't. So I do have to say it just was like one of those things. I didn't have that struggle. So
Yeah.
a lot of people that have that struggle go
Like a
to,
physical addiction
yeah.
almost.
I
You're
mean,
almost like emotionally, and
yeah,
then you
like I was like,
decided.
I needed everything in my life that I know that is helping me feel this bad out.
Mhm.
And I think that really helped. Not that I didn't like have cravings and like miss my life, because just cutting alcohol out
Yeah.
really did cut my life out,
Yeah.
because I had to, you know,
Change everything.
change everything.
I know.
Like,
It
it's a
changes
lot.
everything.
It changes everything.
Sobriety in general, whatever you're getting sober from, you have
Anything.
to
Yep.
take such a look at where you're vulnerable to that lifestyle by the environment and people you're surrounding yourself
Yeah.
with.
You have to really, really take
And I
deep
think
looks.
that's why a lot of people struggle too, because it's like it comes with, oftentimes when we're dealing with addiction, like you said, we're dealing with this like true pain inside and self loathing. And to think like I'm going to lose people is a hard
Yeah.
path to walk.
It-
But what you gain and the space that you allow for
yeah.
better to come
It's
in,
beautiful.
it's beautiful.
I'm not saying the whole journey is beautiful, but like there's definitely that period of time where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been doing this to myself. And
Yeah.
it's okay,
Yeah.
and I'd rather I feel more,
Yeah.
but I feel more joys, and I feel more
Totally. You feel
like
the other sides
you
too.
feel the other side.
That's such a great point, because it's like I never felt anything
Mm.
when I was like a complete pothead,
Yeah.
not one thing.
Oh,
And that meant like, yeah, you have this gift of like never having to feel pain, grief, all this.
celebration was drinking,
But then it's
anything.
like you never feel the true happiness,
No.
joy, gratitude, none of it.
No, you don't. You have the highs and lows, definitely, in the beginning, but I don't have as many the highs or so I feel,
Autonomous. Yeah.
but it's not as like,
Because you've learned how to not be attached to those
yeah,
feelings,
yeah.
which I think is
I
so
learned to like
powerful.
sit with them, let them
Mhm.
pass through.
Mhm.
It's you can't deny them,
Yeah.
but you have to let them pass through you. And
Yeah.
there's many tools that I have acquired over the year.
Yeah.
If that one doesn't work, I'll try this one.
And I
But
think like, taking a look at yourself is like where it starts. And that's just interesting, kind of the way that you described it, because it's like you can only get so far by doing the work on your own.
yeah, you have to
And
have.
that's kind of, I think, where I got this past year is I went to Dr. Joe. When I went to Dr. Joe with you guys, that was the first time I've not smoked weed every single day. I'm not even kidding, for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And I was like smoking bongs all day,
I
every
remember
day.
you're like, I'm going to quit drinking, but I'm not going to drink with weed. I'm like, it's the same
It's
thing.
the same thing. And I wasn't, even at Dr. Joe, like I wasn't thinking I was not smoking anymore. I was like,
Yeah.
but as you mentioned, we learned how to like have these experiences internally. And I felt for the first time, and I didn't want to lose that. And I think it was this culmination of like going within for the first time and also like feeling for the first time that I really cracked open at that. Like I was a hot mess.
Yeah.
Thank God you guys were there. It was really powerfully
beautiful,
emotional.
though.
It was beautiful. And it was just definitely this time when I was like, I need to shift things in my life, and never like made this decision when I got back that I was just like never going to smoke weed again, because I know like how much I love it and how easy it is for me to run away from things.
It was working for you.
Yes. And I'm like, the only way I'm going to face this shit that I need to face is to not numb it. Like I have to feel it all. And that's when this like ripple effect in my life, like what else is not in alignment, like started to happen. And I think I shifted so much in such a quick time frame by becoming aware that it was almost shell shocking a little bit. And I didn't yet have the community resources. So I got to this point where I was still taking, now I'm feeling everything, but I was still taking some of these same like work addictions to people, like ego mind, into now this new life that I'm trying to build. And I like got to this point where I was just like really lost and knew that I didn't want to continue. I didn't want to like go back to the old life that I had, but I didn't know how to like move forwards into my new life.
You were at the crossroads.
Yeah. And you remember that day when I was I was teaching yoga at Banyan, and I told you, I'm like literally going to cry. I told you, I'm like, I'm so sad. This is like the first day I've ever felt like, how can I teach yoga to people when I feel so like lost and low myself.
Mhm.
I feel so confused and like lost. And you were like, first off, just like gave me the space, which I'm so grateful for, and opened your heart to me. And you were like, actually, there's a 12-step meeting tonight at Unity, and it's not just AA, it's like anyone can go. It's
Mhm.
any addiction, anyone can go, and I think it would really help you. And I was kind of like, I had gone to Al-Anon and stuff, which was like opening my mind to family patterns, but I still wasn't really like quite looking at these patterns that I was still carrying. I was just like, okay, habits don't serve me, but like there's some resentments and anger and things that I'm still deeply carrying, and now I'm feeling it all.
They just
And
don't go away.
they just don't go away. I was kind of like, "What do you mean? You think I'm like like a fucking addict? Like, what do you mean?" But you were so sincere about it. You're like, "It's not like that. It's the safe space that I think you'll find a lot of value in." And you were just so
Roadmap.
calm
Yeah.
and good with it. And I was like, okay, like, fuck, like I'm feeling like this way. Like, why not try it? And my God, it just like opened up something inside of me being around people from all walks of life, all different pasts, different socioeconomical statuses. Like,
It's
who
amazing.
knows, and everyone is there for the same purpose, which is just to like hold space for each other and to not judge and to help each other overcome.
Everyone's been where you are.
It was like this
Yeah.
feeling of community
Mhm.
that spiritually that I have never felt before.
Yeah.
And it was the gift that I needed, the
Aw.
12-step program, to really, like you said, unlearn some of these behaviors and really stop hating myself so much to
Well,
allow
yeah,
love
taking
in.
inventory of yourself,
Yeah,
being able to be like without like I remember I'm like I didn't want to hear anything bad about myself or I
I
didn't want to
know.
be like and when you're able to see yourself as not good or bad, just
Right.
see yourself,
Yeah.
then you can change.
Yes.
Awareness first
Awareness
and
first.
then community
Mm,
and then the step they work.
yeah.
If they're done.
They're done. And it's kind of this why I wanted to talk about it with you, because I think it's this like underground. And I know there is like the tradition of the steps is to be very anonymous and not promoted. But I think there's also an awareness that can be really valuable for people.
I agree. And I think there is that stigma
Yeah.
against with it and this whole like hush hush. But what the rooms, they need to be cultivated and like it's a sacred space and it's a space where anyone can go and any kind of addiction. There's so many different types of 12-step programs and
Mm-hmm.
things that I mean, I go to a women's group that is like saved me. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
like people that were going through the same thing at the same time, people that have had total experience of 30 years of sobriety and you're able to like hear all of these and I always found something
Yes.
that connected.
Exactly.
And I remember the first couple, maybe the first year, I would just like be like still. I didn't move. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
this is powerful.
It's so powerful.
Yeah.
And I I just think it's important to talk a little bit about it and just break the stigma and know people to know that like this is a safe space and an option for you. We sometimes, I think, take the addictive mind and think that it has to be identified by one particular substance.
Yes.
And for me, I've found like it isn't. Yeah, like for me, weed was just like something that worked for the time being. But then if
Escape.
it wasn't weed that I was escaping from, it was deep rooted codependence on people from a very young age, And I was like putting similar patterns into then relationships. And, people can be addicted to their phones, to shopping, to anything that they're using to escape. But
Food.
the real addiction is this identification with this ego mind. And that's outside of the substance, And so you don't have to be like ruining your life with a substance to find value in the 12-step program and to find community and safety and opportunities to heal and grow within that kind of space. And I think I struggled with that. If it wasn't for that particular meeting of being this kind of like open meeting,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I would have went to like AA, for
Right.
example.
Right.
So,
Because
but then I ended up going because I'm just like, I need this community. And I ended up finding CODA, which
mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
Codependency Anonymous. There's like 3 meetings a week throughout the Cleveland area. And to me, like that's been the best place for me because it's still working the 12 steps. It's still looking at yourself and how you can change and heal and show up better in your life. And also, like not so.
It's your language.
It's my language.
Yeah, and you
and
can
so, and there's
resonate.
options for people. And I just want people to know that because I
Yeah.
think so many people are like struggling silently and like not realizing that there is a community available.
There is. So AA has more options. So there's just so much more
Right.
meetings, and there's women's meetings where other meetings, there's just not as many options. And I think people struggle with saying I'm alcoholic. And I use it as like, that's the one word. That's the one thing that's keeping us together.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, I don't go around saying I'm an alcoholic.
Right.
But I just know that when I'm there, I'm sharing that common thing. And I treat it as like, I'm powerless over my thinking. So
Yes.
I need other people to help me look at my thinking.
Yes.
If I keep on looking at my thinking, I'm not going to be able to get out of it.
Yep.
So I need a therapist, other people to help me. I have to hear other stories. It's not an alone process. And I think
Totally.
people think, okay, I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to do this alone.
Yeah.
You can't.
You
You have to find your tools and your ways. But I think I've heard you get harmed in relationships. Like when you're young, you get harmed like mentally by every childhood traumas, the little T traumas that I say, like we all have them. But then you're healed in relationships. So you have to find people that are open and non-judgment and be able to help you heal those wounds. And I don't think it can be done in your own head.
No, it can't be done in your own head. And that's where it's like, I encourage anyone who is feeling, like they're a product of those thoughts and whatever darkness that's bringing inside of you to know that there are options. And Marianne Williamson in Course in Miracles always talks about that. She's like, alcohol, substance addiction, like it's not out to make your life inconvenience. It's out to like kill you. And that's exactly what the ego mind does.
Yes.
This negative entity within our brains that is different than our souls can show up in many different forms. And that ego mind is out to kill you if you don't find the resources in the community to heal. And there's only so much you can do on your own in your corner doing yoga like I was doing,
Well, that's where I did get that the ego speaks first and it speaks loudest was from the Course in Miracles I read and Marianne Williamson. And that's so true. It's that was one of my first books. I think I read like 50 books that first year that I got sober. And, like I just devoured self-help and just trying to figure out this crazy mind. And
totally.
And then you have to like, okay, put those things down and integrate them and be able to like understand that, you gotta like education, but you need that support.
You need the support. And it's like it will continue to rear its way back up because, again, it's like you can't heal alone. Like relationships are brought into your life to teach you things about you. And I was getting away from my tools and my resources, like getting caught up. And I could feel it so much.
Yeah.
And getting back in my head and thinking these negative thoughts and self-sabotaging and not loving myself in the way that I need to in order to be loved from others.
Losing yourself.
Yeah. Sure. And it's like, of course, because I've skipped the last few months of going to meetings and going to therapy and like doing the work.
Yep. Doing the work. Yeah. If you can't, I think it's tandem. I think you have to find therapy I do believe. And there's so many options out there, but like it's definitely helpful. I believe in the 12-step program, you can kind of, people are going to tell you little things that your therapist won't.
Yeah.
And be a little more, like therapists can't tell you certain things. And so that's helpful too.
And that's why, like, I started this podcast is because it's like, there's only so much that we can get from, like the self-help books or reading or like being told by clinicians. But when you are exposed to someone else's real experience and you can relate to that, it like makes you feel like, okay, this is possible for me.
You're not alone.
You're not alone. And like someone else healed, I can heal too.
Yeah, yes. And it's so healing to hear other people help their journey and to be able to be a witness for them. Even someone that's brand new, it's like to be able to share to just be a witness for them.
Yeah.
And to witness what they're going through. Yeah, it's a healing process. It's a
It is.
journey.
It is, but it really like it shows up in all ways of your life. And so as you've gone through this process and now 10 years sober, right? So like how do you think your business will continue to grow and change as you continue to grow and change? Like, do you still see, like opportunities to shift within Banyan
Oh,
Tree?
absolutely. I
Mm-hmm.
continue to see it. I continue to want to find more local makers and
Mm-hmm.
make it more of a place of community and
Yeah,
people to come and just be a part of Cleveland and
totally.
see what our city has to offer. I mean, because Tremont is really a place where a lot of out of town people come.
Totally.
Like they'll be staying downtown, so it's such a great place to feature local people like yourself,
Yeah.
and I feel so proud to like carry your brand
To
and
be the vessel.
yes, to be the
No, I'm
vessel.
so honored. And that's how I feel too. And it's why I don't want to just, of course, like, yeah, it would be cool to have my brand in many different places, but I'm not targeting the normal consumer product plan to market where it's like the only way it works is if it goes through like so many doors throughout the nation and big box and just be another number amongst collagens. I'm like,
Hmm.
I want to put the brand in a space that's an extension of the purpose. And so when someone comes in to get the collagen, now they have access to a whole vessel of consciousness and the energy and the force that we are together and vice versa. It's like you're bringing in this type of consumer and now they have access to my brand and to take that information too. And it's just alone, we can only do so much, as we said, and together we're so powerful, whether that's in business or healing. And it's
I
such a
agree with that.
blessing. So thank
I'm
you for
very
always like truly being such a light. It's so wild because, we met on the plane on the way to Dr. Joe and we've been truly family since, like for real. And it's so
Well,
funny
you've been a
because,
light. You have to.
oh,
It's like
thank you.
I see so much in you and like so much growth in the period of time that I've known you and
Thank you.
it's very inspiring.
Well, you guys, you and Lisa we went on this like journey together and you were truly like the first friends that I've ever had, like seeing me completely vulnerable and in my darkest space and not judging me at all and loving me for that. And it's given me such an ability to learn how to love myself. So I can
Thank
only
you.
hope that I can do that for others.
Thank you.
And it's crazy because I feel this like such strong connection with you and we're always like sisters. And then it's like, your parents have the exact same name as my parents. And it's not
That was
like my mom's name was Patricia and my dad's name is James and they go by Pat and Jim and so do your
yeah, I
parents.
know.
It's
Pat and
so
Jim.
crazy. I can't get over it. It just like goes to show you there's these synchronicities in life that happen and they're not random.
And do you remember? And I was trying to find the card this morning. We both pulled the card synchronicity at Dr.
Yes, at
Joe's.
Dr.
Hmm.
Joe. I
You had
know.
to pull one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I truly believe that we were meant to cross these paths
I
and help
know.
each other. And you've helped me so much too. And, helped me this journey of being more purposeful in my business. So
Yeah,
you're
and thank you
inspiring.
for sharing your story today. In Kabbalah, they always say the business is only as successful as the consciousness of the founder. And you are a true testament to that. You've been able to attract this team around you by committing to being your highest version, committing to switching up the way that you've done business to do what's in alignment. And it's allowed you to attract such authentic, beautiful human beings. Like, when I tell you, some of my best friends in life right now, period, are the girls that I work with at Banyan Tree. And you've created that space and it's a testament to you. And I can only hope as I grow as a business owner that I can exude that same confidence to move from spirit above all else and attract that same team and energy around me. So
Thank you.
totally
Thank
inspiring.
you. I
And all
love
the girls
all of
are
you guys.
seriously the best.
It is. It's a
Yeah.
special group.
It is so special. So yeah, you guys can shop the collagen inside Banyan
Yes, I know
Tree.
we have to restock it.
We're restocking it, which is so cool. And just stop in and see the energy. All of this stuff is designed by Christie. All of the Figwood line, which is your in-house line, designed by Christie, made from conscious materials and consciously by real people. It is like clothing that not only is not toxic, but not just from the material, it's from the entire way it's produced and the energy behind it. And it's it's truly the future of consumerism. So thanks for being a pioneer in the
Thank you.
community.
Thank you so much for
Of
being
course.
such an advocate.
And such a light. No, I'm so inspired. So yeah, stop in,
Stop in and say
shop
hi.
Banyan Tree, shop the Collagen. I'm wearing my Banyan Tree shirt today, the staple.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yep. And we're getting our new spring pretty early. It'll be in
Amazing.
February.
Yeah. And I feel like we'll do some more community events this year.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe some yoga here and there.
I know.
Amazing.
Once we get past this holiday season, I feel like now we need a
like spring refresh. Yeah, and get back into the community. But I'm going to leave some links underneath the show notes with where you guys can find 12-step nationally. You really just like look it up by your location and you can find different meetings. I will link Broken Open because that is a good book that I think could help many people. I'll link Course of Miracles. If you
Return to Love, maybe.
Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. She's just such a
that's like a classic.
It's such a classic.
You want to get anything.
Yes. And just know that if you're on the journey of awakening or, getting out of these patterns that you've been in, that you're not alone. And hopefully this inspires you to know that there's resources and there's opportunities and you can only grow into your highest potential by taking that look within. So we hope you inspired to do that today.
If anyone needs to reach out to me or you, like feel free.
Feel free. We would love to connect and help each other grow.
For sure.
Yeah. If this episode resonated with you, please like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. And we will be back again next week. Christie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Green Farm.
It's really good. Thank you so much.